May I introduce you to Laure Ferrari? The political world is a big change, isn't it?
There's no rules in the game. There's no limit to what can be said about you, done to you, in order to get to you. So it is very brutal.
Hi, and welcome to Driven Women, brought to you by Cash and Rocket. I'm Julie Brangstrup, and this is a space where horsepower meet ambition, where style, energy, and a little bit of rebellion fuel every conversation.
What are we expecting given the budget just came out?
I think it's probably the nail on the coffin. We've had more than a year of this new government. They are no better, if not worse, than the previous ones. It's now or never.
I think this whole Brexit was a disaster.
The people that took over since Brexit have failed. These people do not have the art of negotiating because they've never been in business.
Your partner very close to Trump's.
Nigel is quite close to Trump's administration.
Okay, so that would be a good partnership then.
Yes, that would be a very good partnership. We would be absolutely mad not to seize this opportunity.
Anything that you'll say to your younger self?
Even if you are not in politics, you shouldn't worry too much about what people think about you. You will prevent yourself from doing things or saying things that you wouldn't say or do otherwise. And it's just so silly because any individual has something to offer to this world.
May I introduce you to Laure Ferrari? Yes, actually her name is Ferrari, which is fantastic. When I met her 2 weeks ago in South Africa, down visiting Sumbandila, an incredible charity that I've been supporting since 2013. And it was your first time there.
Yes, first time in South Africa.
That's right.
And the first time being involved with this wonderful charity. And do you know what? It was life-changing for me. I actually mean it.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. Mm-hmm. I know that Lee will be super excited to hear that.
Yeah.
You are a very, exciting person to have.
Ooh, thank you.
And for the children to meet you, and hear about your career and the advice. And I think the more we can educate all of each other, the better the world will turn out.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
Well, we're excited to have you here today. So let's go back to the beginning of your career.
Yes.
In politics.
Okay.
You're French.
I am.
Tell us where you grew up and how did you get into this whole politics and the world of politics?
Oh my goodness me, it's just such a long story. So you're right, I grew up. Good, let's go. So I was born and I grew up in France. My parents were not really into politics. Obviously they had political views, although my great-grandfather was in politics, which is quite interesting. It was just post-war under Charles de Gaulle, who was then our president. So is it within me? Is it in my DNA? I don't know, maybe. But all I will say is that it wasn't really what I wanted to do when I was a little girl. Not at all. Actually, for me, it was a bit, boring, really. I did several things. I don't know where you want to start, but I have a very, very varied background. So I had a clothes shop when I was 23. And that was after studying at university. So you can imagine my parents were like, why? Oh, why?
What did you study at university?
So I studied English literature and English history. And so obviously my parents were probably, seeing me as I don't really know what they were expecting. But the day I told them, well, by the way, I'm going to open a clothes shop, they were like, why would you do this, Also, because they were entrepreneurs themselves, they knew the challenges of what being your own boss meant in terms of responsibilities, challenges, etc., etc., etc. So that's what I did for 2-3 years. I did go into politics, but that was almost an accident, so to speak. I just met an MEP in Strasbourg where I had my shop, and his name is Godfrey Bloom. I'm still friends with him and his family to this day. And I've just realized that actually I also had political views. I also had things that I wanted to express. And because the shop wasn't doing too great, to be frank with you, because in France back in 2008, we had a very bad economic crisis, right? And I was starting to see that I was not going to make a success out of this clothes shop. I had a good beginning, but that was heading in the wrong direction. And so when I was offered an interview to work for this MEP, I said, okay, well, it's worth considering, right? So I did go to the interview.
Challenge.
My goodness me, completely. But that's the thing with me. Maybe a lot of young people do this because we're a bit carefree, right, when we're young. But every time I've had the opportunity to do something, I've always said yes, and then we'll think about it later. So there I was, putting a first foot in politics, first as an assistant, and then let's move because. As I said, there's so many things happen between then and my first campaign. And in 2012, I was involved with a French political party called Debout la France, and they said to me, "We would like you to stand for us in that particular constituency. Would you like to do it?" And once again, I said yes, and I thought about it after that because politics is daunting and it's not the easiest of things to do.
Well, and there's a lot of compromises. You know, you choose a lie within the political world. There's a lot of compromises and obviously changes that you have to make. Mm-hmm. And being in the public is obviously not easy either. So what is it like to be? Because I'm assuming also now being with your partner, who is Nigel Farage, who's actually up for the next, hopefully, to be part, that lifestyle that you guys have chosen is a big change, isn't it?
It's huge. I think that politics is probably the only single, I'm going to call it industry for lack of a better word. It is not an industry, but you understand what I mean. That is open to no rules. There's no rules in the game. Right? So there's no limit to what can be said about you, done to you, in order to get to you. So if they don't like your politics, for instance, especially ours, the sky's the limit. So I'm talking lies, I'm talking anything to dent your reputation, sometimes threats, etc., etc. So it is very brutal. However, once you've and I did experience that back in 2012, by the way, when I was campaigning, in
what way?
Well, so it's very simple, because you're challenging the system, and even though I was standing for a small party, I was challenging the system, the establishment, and so. Just things were written about me. People were not particularly nice to me when I was interviewed, and again, maybe it is not the point. Maybe it is the way it is. I just had the feeling that when you are on our side of politics, things are a bit harder. But anyway. No, I know the rules, right? So I'm all ready, I'm all ready. But it is a bit brutal, and I don't think anyone is prepared for it naturally. You know?
They don't really know what they're getting into.
No, no. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah. So okay. So tell me now, with the life that you guys are leading, and you've created, there's a new party.
Yes.
And your partner is the leader of that party. So what are we expecting, given the budget just came out, recently, and with everything going on? What are your views of what's happening at the moment? Right.
So yes, the budget just happened. I think it's probably the nail on the coffin, to be honest with you. We don't really have grasps, really, how bad it is. But since the beginning of this new government, so we're talking back 2024, we've had more than a year of this new government. They are no better, if not worse, than the previous ones. People are absolutely gutted for all sorts of reasons. Is it taxations? Yes, of course it is, because money is at the core of everything.
Yeah.
When you are, feeding a family, when you're working hard, being taxed even more is not really nice, is it? But it's more than just the money and the way this government is actually managing the finances of this country. It's law and order. Do we feel safe?
Yeah.
We
don't.
Well, exactly. I hear people constantly going like, oh, okay, I've got to go to London today. Oh, well, maybe I will not wear my jewelry. So, for instance, I wear my phone in my back pocket, right? Because I'm thinking, well, if they steal my bag, at least I've got my phone, because we've got everything on our phones now. At least I can go home. I can take the train. I can, too bad for my keys, but anyways. But I just think it's very sad that we have to think this way. So it's not just our security, it's the security of our children, it's the security of the police force as well. It's the security of some groups. I'm thinking, for instance, of the Jewish community, who are particularly targeted at the moment. So people are worried about the security. They're worried about the level of taxation.
But also the fact that so many people have left
Oh,
the
my
UK
goodness me.
because of this craziness of...
So I don't know. I like to use common sense, right? And so for me, you do not really bite the hand that feeds you. And some people have a hatred towards the rich. I don't know where it comes from, but some people do. And I think it's very silly, because at the end of the day, we need the rich and successful, because the more they stay here, the more they bring in the economy, the more, via taxation, spendings, etc., etc. So it is in nobody's interest to see them leave.
Yeah.
Because what it means is that you'll see the average people paying more and more taxes. And that's why people are absolutely disgusted at the moment, is because they work hard, they're not particularly wealthy. Some of them are really struggling, actually, to have a comfortable life, and that is due partially to all the people making the wealthy leaving this country. So, and Julie, I'm worried, because I think it's going to be worse and worse, and I don't want to sound dramatic, but I think people have realised that this is the last chance to make it better. Yeah, we will not have other shots at this. It's now or never, and I think that people have realised that.
Yeah. Well, it's a disaster also putting the VAT on schools. I mean, they couldn't even handle, the public schools to start with. And now all the, a lot of the families that were having 2 jobs and barely could get through having, their kids in a private school, have had to take them out.
So again, if you like common sense like me, how silly is this? Because like you said, if people decided to put their children in the private system, then it takes the pressure off the public system.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
everybody's a winner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So why did they add this extra burden on people?
Yeah.
What is the logic behind it? Okay, they probably getting more money, I don't know, but for me, it was just probably symbolic, like, oh, look at us, we don't like the private schools. We're going to do that to them.
Yeah.
I don't know what the exact reason was, but the result of it is, it's silly.
It's completely overpopulated in each class now in all of the government schools.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was already a big problem.
Yes.
On the whole national part, but it's a disaster on that part. So what are the kind of the ideas going forward that you and Nigel really believe in, that can change our country and can change for the better, safety-wise, taxation, etc., so we can get all of those thousands of people who left
back in.
Come back,
please come back. What was it again? Who was singing this? It was a boys band from the 90s. So again, I'm not involved in party politics, so I do not play. I don't draft policies. Right. But I think there is an aspiration from the general public, from the voters and the taxpayers in this country, to see several things, happening. The first thing I believe is to control your borders. It is key. If you think, I always like to use this as an example, but when you leave your house in the morning, you lock the door.
Controlling your borders, so not having any foreigners in.
Oh, no. Any people coming in this country legally, like I'm an example.
Me too.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I believe that we bring, a little bit of something, to this country. But I think it is dangerous, if not criminal, to let people in this country that we know nothing about, mostly young men, coming from countries maybe where women are sort of second-class citizens, so it's not really fair and safe for, all young women. So just control immigration doesn't mean that stopping immigration completely, but illegal immigration should be a no-no. Anything illegal is criminal, right? So let's call it for what it is. Then I think you need to have a certain form of autonomy when it comes to energy and food. If you're not self-sufficient, if you can't feed a nation, you become vulnerable, because any third country, and it could be a war, could be anything, and they just cut the tap off, and then what do you do? So I think helping our farmers is very important, and this government hasn't helped our farmers. They've done quite the opposite.
Especially with the inheritance tax. Disaster on that part.
Some farmers have actually committed suicide over this. It's terrible. So it's bad for our farmers and it's bad for us, right?
Yeah.
Because we need to be self-sufficient when it comes to food. Yeah. Same with energy. We have the most expensive energy in the world, in the United Kingdom, and I think that going back to a sensible way of heating ourselves, electricity and so on and so forth would be a good thing. So we've talked about protecting our borders. We've talked about food and energy. Taxation, of course. We need foreign investments, right? Yeah. We need business. We should be stopping this sort of narrative that businesses and bosses and the private world is dangerous and bad and they're only here to exploit people. They're not. Yeah. They're here to employ people. So just look at small and medium, enterprises, for instance. Very few people know that it employs 62% of the workforce in this country. 62%, it's massive. So in order to fight unemployment, we need to help small businesses, right? Again, common sense approach. We need to make it more attractive to foreign investors.
But how? Because, I think this whole Brexit was a disaster. I don't think it's really helped us at all.
In what sense?
Well, because we haven't created any deals at all.
No, that's true.
It's been a big mess. Yeah. And again, I agree about controlling the borders but we do need immigrants and we do need foreigners, and it's made it super complicated now that we need visas to go back and forward. And I think
so first of all,
ourselves a little bit in the foot there.
First of all, I wouldn't blame Brexit. I would blame the people that have badly dealt with Brexit, because for me it was an opportunity to place the United Kingdom in the world again and become that wonderful, exciting place to come into business with. And sadly, the successful the governments since Boris Johnson have not managed to do that by lack of will. It's a lack of will. It's negotiating is an art, and these people do not have the art of negotiating because they've never been in business, right? So there was a way to negotiating, after Brexit, or actually before Brexit even, which hasn't been done. So that was one thing. How do you attract foreign investors? I mean, it's not just the EU. I mean, you've got lots and lots of countries in the world that thinks that the United Kingdom is still a wonderful place to do business, especially in finances, right? You can't beat, they were talking about having Frankfurt as the new London or Paris. It failed. It completely failed. So how do you attract foreign investors? Taxation is an obvious one. But the other thing you can do is to make the rules a lot more flexible. So less red tape and more incentive for people to come here and do what they do best, which is to make money, employ people, and help us grow.
Boom the economy.
Yeah, we're in desperate need of that. Yeah. And I think that if you look around the world, the places that are booming economically are, I'm thinking about, for instance, Singapore, Hong Kong, and so on and so forth, are countries that are very low in taxations and very low in bureaucracy.
Yeah, interesting.
And sorry to...
something dramatic has to happen.
Yes. Yeah. And sorry to bounce back on the Brexit thing, because I get your point of view, believe me, because it is shared by a lot of people. But the reason the British people left the EU as well is because there was an excessive amount of, let's call them what they are, stupid laws that made business very difficult, and they didn't want to be ruled by an elected people in a different country. They wanted to make their own rules. Now, what we found is that the people that took over since Brexit have failed. It doesn't mean it's impossible, quite the opposite.
So that would be one of the first things that the party would be looking at, to basically trying to negotiate.
Yes.
Better deals, better terms.
Yes.
Well, there aren't any at the moment, but something that actually has an outcome that is more positive.
Yes.
And generating more, businesses to come here and invest.
Yes. Reform UK has grasped the importance of understanding business people, small and big. And it's quite fascinating, actually, the number of important, successful entrepreneurs that have now joined the ranks of Reform, either to advise or to give money or, to contribute, and just basically wanting to help make a success of what this country is going to be next, because there is hope. Nothing is all gloom, and I'm an optimistic person, and I think that if you seize the opportunities that the world has to offer, and if you make your own destiny in the world, can be successful. It's like a bad marriage. Think about a bad relationship, and it can be difficult sometimes to leave a relationship, but then you become more independent, and you can do your own things afterwards, and I think it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
Weird analogy.
It shall be rewarding.
It's a weird analogy.
So,
sorry.
So what? How do you see the next year playing out then? I mean, in regards to the politics, in regards to what's happening in our country at the moment. What's coming in?
I don't know if you've ever heard that saying, a week in politics is a long time. And I think it's just, it's, I don't know. It could come very fast. I just have the feeling that, especially after this budget, it could precipitate things a little bit. I don't think that this government is actually going to do any better. I don't think it has understood the desperation in the people at the moment. And
which
so
is bizarre, given
I know.
How many people have left.
I know. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? And you sometimes I wonder, why? It's so logical, right? You just need to listen to the people and do do what you need to do. But so I can't see the situation getting any better. I think it's going to get worse. I don't think we're going to have to wait for a long time before we get another general election, basically.
Okay.
I'm not a psychic. I can't tell you whether it's going to be next year, in 2027, 2028. I just can't tell you. I suspect it's going to be a lot closer, a lot sooner than what people think.
Okay. Because obviously with the new budget out and everyone being highly unhappy about that, or a lot of people, you know, you come from a political world, in the French political world, also has been chaos the last couple of years. And the instability that it creates, you know, has such a bad effect on everything. So it needs to, you know, really, something has to happen dramatically. And I guess that being said is that it's up to reform or the parties to actually come in with a strategy that people will buy into.
Yes.
And that being, you know, coming out faster than expected.
Yes.
And so so how much, if you were, which we hope you are, going to win, how much involvement will you have? Because at that point then that's quite serious.
Yes, it's a very interesting.
Now over your whole life.
It's a very daunting thought, actually, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because you're never prepared to such a thing. And it's definitely wasn't my, you know, my dream to start with. I don't think people, when they elect someone to be at the head, you know, to be leading a government, I don't think they want the spouse behind to be sort of, you know, activating, to be too involved into politics. I think we saw that with Carrie Johnson. I think that one of the main criticism that people had about Carrie Johnson and Boris Johnson is that she was way too involved in you know, into the politics into politics. So I don't want to do that. It doesn't mean I don't have any political views. Of course I do. Of course I do.
Yeah.
Of course I do.
You'll be sitting on the sideline.
Yeah, I think it's very important for several reasons. Because if you get too much involved, then all the conversations you have with your, you know, partner is just politics and nitty-gritty of politics, and it can become a bit boring.
Yeah.
But also because I think that sometimes when you step back, when you have, you know, a bit of distance on things, it helps.
Yeah.
It helps. It really does help. Also, I think that there's a lot of things that someone that could be in my position can do, whether it's to be involved with charities and do things like that. I do hope so, you know. There's a lot. It is not as confined and limited as people think.
Yeah.
I think it is what you want it to be.
Yeah.
But I will not be...
But it's not something you can dip in and out of, though, because...
That's true.
If you are in that position, you're there.
Yeah.
For a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to take that on, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, you're right. It's not like you have a magic wand. You say,
No.
okay, I've had enough.
Yeah.
I'm off now.
I'm off for
I'm
a
off
few
to
weeks.
to some exciting destinations. No, you're right. You know, once you're in, you're in.
Yeah, and it's a very judgmental, you know, there's a lot of judgment the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of opinions.
Yes.
So I guess you have to prepare yourself for that.
Yes. Thankfully, I've had the last 15 years to prepare myself in terms, as I said, I've obviously experienced it a little bit, but I have experienced the negativity and what people say about you and criticize you, and it's only just started. It's going to get worse and worse. So
how do you deal with that?
Well, you don't think about it. That's what you do.
Just let it go in and out.
Honestly, Julie, if you start thinking about what's coming next, what is going to be the next story about you or attack, then you don't do it. Because it's not a nice place to be, right? So you don't think about it, and then you just do it, basically.
Yeah.
And it is a commitment, and I think we owe it to this country.
Yeah.
Right? You can't. The thing is that you can't keep on criticizing the current system like I have done over the last 10, 15 years, saying, oh, well, this is not good, and this and this and that. And then when you have the opportunity, you say, oh, no, sorry, guys, not interested. You know, you just, if you are in a capacity, if you are in a position that you can actually do your bit, then you do it.
Yeah. But it's quite an ungrateful job, to be honest. You know, you are.
Thank you, Julie. You have really cheered me up.
But it's such a massive responsibility. And
Yes.
Yet alone, you're being judged every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
And, and I think.
It's vicious.
Yeah. It really
It
is
is.
vicious.
Yes, but you know what? I'm 46 now, and I think that there is some truth in the saying that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen that in business, and it's definitely true in politics.
Yeah.
You grow a skin that is thicker every time you get something coming your way. You brace yourself. You go like, oh no, and then you take it in the chin.
Yeah.
You learn, and you just. I suppose that you need to lose the ego a bit. You just need to not take things personally. You just need to see it as a sort of, I wouldn't say game, but it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is, and it just
As a challenge.
It's a challenge. It's not fair. I'm not saying it's fair. It's definitely not pleasant. I'm not a masochist. I don't take pleasure in people, demonizing me or vilifying me. But it is, as you say, it's a challenge, and you just take it.
Yeah. So, are your partner very close to Trump's?
Yes, he's a good friend of Trump. He's supported him. So 2016, 2015, I think he came to support him openly, despite all odds, because Trump wasn't very, popular. He's still not popular to some extent. I think it's a bit sad because whilst he's probably not the most, diplomatic person, he's actually gets things done, and he's definitely a challenger, and I think there's a reason for everything, and he came into politics to change the consensus. Some people like it, some people dislike it. He comes from the world of business, he's not here to make friends.
I don't think he is. That's for sure.
No. But I find it a bit unfair because I've met him, and he's actually quite a sweet man. I know it's people don't see it because you see the the big guy that says things that you wish he hadn't said, but he's actually a good person. So Nigel is quite close to the administration, the Trump's administration.
Okay, so that would be a good partnership then.
Yes, that would be a very good partnership. I tell you why. It's because the Americans are the first investors in this country, and I think vice versa. I need to check. All right. But there's an amazing synergy here to do things work. The Americans, the United States of America, are amazing partners to the United Kingdom, and we would be absolutely mad not to seize this opportunity, whether it is Trump or someone else, by the way. All right?
Yeah.
I just think that no matter what, our two countries really need to be friends. It's so important at the moment on the world stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And so in regards to politics, obviously that's a big part of your life. What else are interests of yours that you to get your mind off, or what do you do outside just to reset?
Right. Well, I'm very basic when it comes to switch off. So anything dealing with nature. So just to walk in nature. The seaside would be my favorite. Just the sound of the waves and the seagulls and being with my 2 dogs and things. That really helps me. Friendship. So I'm very, very blessed. I've got some very, very good friends. And so a good laugh, a good bottle of wine with friends just always makes you go back to reality.
Yeah.
My family is very helpful as well. I'm very family orientated, and I'm very lucky to have both my parents alive. And it's always nice they're coming for Christmas, so
Oh, lovely.
I'm looking forward to this, to see my
Are they
sister.
based in France?
In France, yeah,
Okay.
both of them.
Okay.
So they're coming this Christmas. It's going to be nice, and a good laugh I think is very important.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm in a bad mood, I just go to I just watch a good old comedy. That always cheers me up, and because I'm a woman of faith, I'm quite grounded in my faith, and so meditation, prayers usually keeps me sane.
Okay. And you do that every day?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I do. Not as long as I would like to, but that's how I start the day.
Okay.
I start the day just even being grateful for a few things.
Yeah.
They say that, don't they? Like you should list 5 things or 3 things you're very grateful for every day. And I think that, I think it's a good way to start the day.
Yeah. So this morning, what were you grateful for?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Well, for my relationship, I'm in a very happy relationship, and it's a blessing because I know that a lot of people are unhappy,
Lonely.
or lonely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. For the health of my family, for my health. And what else? For the good weather this morning. I was like, oh yes, good weather.
Yeah. Not raining.
Yeah, it's not raining today. And I can't remember the 5th one. It tends to be pretty much the same thing every day, but it doesn't matter,
Yeah. Well, as long as you have that within your,
Yeah.
reset system. And so, tell me, in regards to the charity that we went to visit, why is it important for you to be part of different charity projects? And is it focusing on women or children or education? What is it that you like to focus on when it comes to that?
So that's interesting because I'm quite new to it,
Yeah.
sadly, by the way. And it's my friend Natalie who said to me, he said, Laure, you might be in a position soon that could allow you to do so much good. I think you should consider it. And I was like, oh yeah. So I used to do little bits for charities before, but it was never that big. So I was very thrilled for instance this year to raise money, talk about the project, go and see the kids, touch what it means. But because often you give to charities and you don't actually what they do, and that's a bit sad. And also what I find sad is that people are not giving to charities because they're being taxed so much, and I think the more you tax people, the less generous they become in their own personal life, which is probably understandable, right?
And should adopt that from the US because they have a great tax.
Yes, they do.
Set up scheme for donations, etc. So we should
See?
really take that in.
Right. Well, thank you very
I would
much.
appreciate that.
Can you be our advisor? No, you're absolutely right. We need to do more in that respect. So what it is in this world that I'd like to do? Well, children is the obvious one. I do not have children. It's not why I'm drawn to it, but we always say children are the future. I know it sounds silly to say that, but it's a fact, right? They are going to be the one that are going to be your future leaders and so on and so forth. By the way, I thought it was very interesting when we went to South Africa, the number of young adults, because they are young adults really, they're teenagers, that are so worried about their political, the political future of their country.
That girl we talked to.
She was amazing, but she wasn't the only one. So kids are preoccupied by what tomorrow is going to bring. Them. So anything that can help children in poverty in this country or elsewhere, I think is super fulfilling.
Yeah.
Because you see the results. So, for instance, I mean, you've been involved in this charity for a long time now, right? Yeah. So you've seen the results.
Yeah.
And I'm new, but I can tell. I mean, I've met kids that have been into the scholarship for a year only, right?
Yeah.
And it's incredible how much they've blossomed.
Yeah.
Learning, the curiosity, aspiration in life. I want to be a surgeon. I want to be a dentist. I want to be an accountant. It's very good to see, especially since these kids do not have much opportunity. They have one shot basically, and they understand this.
Yeah.
So they seizing it and they making the best of it. So children is definitely the obvious one. Women, obviously as well. Being a woman, I'd like to think I understand some challenges that women are facing. And whatever comes my way that tickles my fancy, really.
Well, and also I think, we saw that, how much an education can mean, because by giving that scholarship, it's not just that one student that got the scholarship, it's affecting, it's the family and the community, that whole impact will go and really unite them on that, because they have to also give back. So I think, even here in the UK, we could do so much more with the youth, with, the government schools, and really progress more on the education there.
Yeah. Do you have anything in mind?
Well, I mean, I think because they're so overpopulated, all the classes, and education is really not, it's not at the top part at all.
Yeah.
I think it's lacking a lot of resources and support. And I think if we change that, you would see an effect also on crime.
Yeah.
And so that cost that we're using fighting against the crime, if we could get the schools much more solid and better and more staffed, and I think it would have a long-term effect. And it'd be super helpful for our country.
Yeah. Do you think also that maybe we should focus on a few subjects rather than trying to teach our kids a bit of everything, and sometimes...
Yeah, I mean, the problem is with that is that you have, let's say, history. History is super important for all of us to know. Mm-hmm. And I used to say, why do we need to know about what happened before, the First World War, or even further? But because we need to understand the humans. We need to understand, how each country developed, etc. The problem is that if you take away some of these subjects, we're not all fully academic and into all the same subjects, and so by giving them access to different subjects, I think it's important for any child to find something they're good at. Mm-hmm. And so I think they need to see that, someone more creative, someone more better at math, more scientists, more, and so the more they get an insight, the more we're educating them in the right, what is good for them, and where they can create something good.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on banning history class.
No, I
think history is very important. Let me be clear. No, I was just thinking that sometimes it is my worry and my understanding as well that we are spending probably a bit too much time teaching our children what to think and how to think, rather than just saying, right, this is history, this is math, this is and then use that as tools for the future. You can make your own mind up. We're not here, this is not our role as teachers to tell you how to think and what is good thinking and what is bad thinking.
But also they should mix more with actually what's happening nowadays. And they're not having a lot of that.
Yes. Are you thinking about AI or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like make
I
it
agree.
more up to date.
Yes, I agree with
It's really
you.
not up to date compared to what you think it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that will have a big effect as well.
We completely,
Yeah.
I agree with you on AI actually, because whilst I'm not particularly an AI person, I'm quite ignorant. I don't really use AI on an everyday basis, but I'm not against it. Quite the opposite. I think we should embrace it. I think that's...
But there's got to be some structure and rules.
Yes.
Because they've got to still learn to create themselves. And think out of the box themselves. And if they have too many tools, then they will be stopped doing that. So there has to be like a leverage of kind of saying, okay, that needs to be much more upgraded or further ability to use different programs, but still keep their own minds going, if that makes sense.
Oh, 100%, yeah. I mean, AI should never replace our minds, and God knows that we are sort of heading this way, and that's why I don't use it, because I'm like, oh my goodness me. It's just you rely too much on it. It's like, using your sat-nav, you know. Do you remember how we used to...
Maps?
Yeah, I know! Or without mice.
I miss those days.
Yeah, me too. Excuse me, where, And now it's just the sat-nav, and if the sat-nav is not working, you go, you go in a panic, right? So yeah, I wouldn't want to go this way with AI.
And as you're saying, and communicating. People are lacking in communication because, especially the youth, because they're like this on the screen the whole time.
I know.
Super bad.
I know. Well, maybe we could have, classes that could be called, I don't know, learn to socialize classes, have manners, for instance, the basics, like how do you shake a hand?
All days of etiquette.
Yeah, no, but it's so important. How do you shake someone's hand? Some kids are just like, they don't know what, they don't look at you, they just, and as we know, first impression is so important, and then these poor kids, they don't know. They don't know what they're doing wrong, and sometimes the parents don't know what they're doing wrong. So maybe that could be a good thing. Oh my goodness me.
Absolutely. There's so much work to be done.
Yeah.
Right. Are there anything, if you have to go into a very important meeting, what is your fashion item that gives you that extra power?
So I wouldn't say an item per se. I'm going to say I'd rather wear a suit, for instance, than a dress. Well, it depends on the nature of the meeting, right? I'm a great believer in dress to impress. I think it is so... Another thing I would like to teach kids, and it's not about the money, it's about turning up, clean, and well turned out. I think, hair's done and so on and so forth. Shoes are polished, So I believe in the motto that you have to dress to impress. So depending on the nature of the meeting, but if it was a business meeting, I would definitely wear a suit and leave the dress or the skirt for some other things. I always find that a nice scarf can just help turn any suit into something quite, attractive, I suppose. So that's pretty much. And red, I like red.
Red as well.
It's not an item, but do you know what? It's such a powerful colour.
Yeah, it is.
I love it.
So the Cash and Rocket that I organised, the car rally, all the cars are red. So you can imagine when you go into a city and you have 30, 40 cars, all red, coming in a convoy. It's quite a powerful statement.
Yeah.
Especially when also driven by all these fabulous women. So that's why I like red as well.
Oh, well.
It's a powerful
I did too. I love it. I love, another thing I like is, and something I would never go without, is a red lipstick.
Yeah.
So...
See, I can't wear that. I look like God knows what when I'm wearing red lipstick.
Oh, okay. So, for instance, sometimes, if I've got nothing else, I don't have the time to do my makeup and everything, I look a bit... So, just a little bit of red lipstick, and all of a sudden...
It's a change.
The flaws disappear.
Yeah. Well, I have another friend who was with us in South Africa.
Oh, yeah, I know!
Always wears red lipstick.
And it suits her. She looks great with that red lipstick.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you so much. Is there like a message that you would like to send out there that we should be watching out for, or anything that you'll say?
Oh, that is a question question I haven't really prepared for because there's so many things I'd like to say. You mean me as a woman and a message I would like to give to younger people?
Like to any women that would like to go into politics. Is there an advice you could give them? Something you've learned that you would have given yourself to your younger self?
Yeah. Do not care too much about what people think about you. And as a general rule, I think that even if you are not in politics, you shouldn't worry too much about what people think about you, because you will prevent yourself from doing things or saying things that you wouldn't say or do otherwise. And it's just so silly because any individual has something to offer to this world.
Yeah. So stay strong in your beliefs, basically. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Julie.
And for kind of including us in your new journey. Your journey is going to go forward here and hopefully for a new change.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on Driven Women. I've really enjoyed being at the back of this wonderful cab.
Peninsula Hotel in London, and this is the most beautiful cab.
Right.
And I thought, perfect match to the title.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Good opportunity to wish you a blessed Christmas.
Thank you very much.
To you and your family, and I'll see you in the new year.
Absolutely.
Bye, Julie.
Thank you.